How do, and welcome back. Well, today I was going to do a side-by-side with my Muntons St Peter's Plum Porter and the commercial version. But unfortunately, the supermarkets sold out of them. They've got the St Peter's Gold, but where the Plum Porter is, it's just an empty tray. It's a very popular beer, and quite rightly so. So I can't do a side-by-side with the commercial. Hopefully next week they'll be back in stock and I can buy one and we can do that. Or I'll just buy one online. That's probably easier. So I can't do the Plum Porter side-by-side. And let me tell you something now, it's tasting great. It's been about 4 or 5 weeks now since brew day. And it's been it was about 3 weeks to ferment because of the temperature. It was a little bit on the low side, so it took a lot longer. So it was somewhere between a full 2 weeks to ferment. And it's been in the bottles now for about 2 weeks, maybe a tad over. So leaving it one more week is only going to benefit it. It's already tasting great now, but it's going to taste better next week. So hopefully next week we'll be able to do a side-by-side. What I'm going to do today is what I was going to do next week, which is a comparison, and it's not scientific because they're two different beers, but a comparison between our old friend Lutra, which is great if you want to make a lager style beer, and the new Novalager, which I'm really impressed with. So I'm going to pour them. I've got them in 2 different bottles, so I know which is which. This is the Novalager, this is the Lutra, and I've got 2 different glasses, so I can tell which is which. So let's get these poured. Let's start with the Novalager, because it is our old friend. We've tried this before, and I must admit, it is a good yeast if you want to make a lager style beer. Now this is about, I think this is about 5 weeks old. Yeah, I think it is. I think I made it just before New Year. It's using my recipe, and it's using Novalager. It's using the Kveik Lutra yeast. So it was done very, very quickly, and it's been conditioning now for the best part of a month. Very clean, as we expect from Lutra. Yeah, all you can taste is the malt and the hop. I use Saaz hops in this. It smells like a lager. It's very nice. It looks nice. Still a lot of haze, and I can't get rid of haze. Whenever I use a Kveik yeast, I just get hazy beers. Not that I'm bothered, I don't mind hazy beers, but sometimes with a lager you just want a little bit more clarity. But anyway, that's the Lutra. Now we're going to have a look at Novalager. This is using the Cooper's European lager, and it's not even 2 weeks old yet. So I fermented this at 13 degrees, so lager temperatures, because it's been really cold where we're living. So I brewed it at 13 degrees, and after 7 days it was ready for bottling. 9 days. It was ready for bottling, and that was last Tuesday. Today's Sunday, so what's that, 6 days? About 6 days in the bottle, but it's rock hard. So let's have a look. This is the Cooper's European lager using Novalager yeast. Less than 2 weeks from brew day, and look at that. You beauty, what a beer. Look at that. I don't know if you can see, but that is so much more clearer than the Kveik Lutra, which, I mean, that's like a month now in the bottle. This is 6 days, I don't know if you can see just how clear that is compared to this on the camera. But yeah, wow. And there's some nice carbonation streaming up. I think this Asahi glass is nucleated, so that'll help. It smells exactly like a lager. A little bit sweet, but I'll talk about that later. I think that's the Cooper's. But it just smells like a macro lager. Right, okay, I'm gonna go in for a taste. We'll start with our old friend Lutra. Oh, that's nice. One of the great things about this time of year is I don't need to use a fridge. I can just put them out here for a few days and they go really cold. That's nice, that's clean, that's refreshing. Light biscuity malt, a little bit of bitterness on the back just to balance things out, dry finish, and a little bit of grassiness as well, a little bit of lemon in the aftertaste. If you was to give someone who likes lager this beer, they wouldn't know it's an ale. You know, they'd be very happy with it. Yeah, I mean, Lutra, you know, if you want to push out a beer, a lager type beer in a week, and that's all this took to brew, you can't beat it for lagers, you know. Anyway, let's get on with the Novalager. Absolutely beautifully clear, nice frothy head there. So like I say, this isn't a scientific test because it's two different beers. This is Cooper's European lager. Again, it was fermented at 13 degrees. It took 9 days to completely ferment. Started at 1040, finished at 1008. I bottled, and it's been 6 days, just 6 days in the bottle, and lovely carbonation. Right, let's go in. Oh, that's nice. Oh, cold and crisp. That's a lager. Absolutely, no doubt about it, that is a lager beer. The only thing I don't like, and this is the kit, not the yeast, is this European lager. It seems to be a bit too sweet. Now, I used a brew enhancer, my own brew enhancer, so it was half, no it wasn't, it was Munton's. It was Munton's brew enhancer, and I think they use a pale ale and a pale ale malt, like a light malt extract, dry malt extract, and then they use dextrose, so it's 50-50, 500 grams. And I don't know if that's made it a little bit too sweet. I think if I was to make it again, I'd probably just dump in a kilogram of dextrose, make it a bit drier, counter that sweetness. But there is like a toffee sweetness in there, which for a lager is a little bit out of place. You expect it with an ale, but with a lager it's a little bit out of place. That's the only criticism I've got of this. Otherwise, it is a really, really nice, refreshing lager. Now, compared to the Lutra, which one? It's got to be this. It's got to be the Novalager. This is great. This Lutra is great. It's clean, and you can brew at like 35 degrees C. It's done in a week, literally. I mean, fermentation is finished in about 3 days, your bottle, and if you can keep those bottles at the same or similar temperature, you've carved in about 1 or 2 days. So literally you can be brewing on, say, a Sunday. You can start fermentation, and on Saturday you're drinking a beer. Now you can't really do that with with the Novalager, so it's great for that. And it's light, it doesn't have any sort of esters, it doesn't give any sort of mouthfeel. It's just completely clean, but it doesn't have that crispness, it doesn't have that lager, you know, profile. Yeah. But it's very good. And yeah, if you've got friends who are lager drinkers and you give them this, they're going to be happy with it. They're going to, you know, they're going to enjoy it. It doesn't taste like an ale, but it doesn't have that crispness. So out of the two, my go-to in future is going to be Novalager, but I'll still be using Lutra if I need to just turn around a beer quickly, especially a lager type beer, because for that you can't beat Lutra. You can try with Voss or some other Kveik, but they start to add estery flavours, they start to add orangey flavours to the beer. No, if you want a lager and you want one quick, Lutra. If you can wait a week or two more, absolutely Novalager. And what's great about this Novalager is you just treat it like an ale yeast. I didn't cellar this, or it hasn't been lagered. It was just in the fermenter, straight into the bottles. I kept the bottles at about 15 degrees. They were carved in about 4 days. Bang, you've got yourself a nice lager beer. Yeah, so it's like an extra week on top of Lutra. Of course it will benefit with age as well. I'm going to bring these outside now, and I'm going to leave them in the garage where it's usually about 5-6 degrees, and just leave them for, you know, well, until I finish them. But I'm in Dublin this week, so they'll get a good week out here in the garage, and then I'll try one again next weekend. So there you go, that's the side by side. That's Lutra Kveik yeast Novalager. Novalager wins, but you've got that extra week's wait. But that's all. But my God, it's a cracking beer. Oh, that's a lager. Ice cold, crisp, lemony. It is a nice kit. I just wish there wasn't that sweetness to it. But yeah, buy cheap kits and stick Novalager in. It improves them 1,000 times. Anyway, so that's it. That's my comparison. Now, I'm going to be in Dublin next week, so I don't know if I can put up a video. What I'm thinking of doing is in the hotel, they have a bar downstairs. If I'm allowed to take a bottle back to my hotel room, then what I'll do is maybe a video of an Irish ale, one that we can't get in the UK, just a review and a bit of a ramble about that. And then hopefully next weekend I'll be able to do the side by side with the St. Peter's Plum Porter. And also next weekend I'm going to be putting on a beer. I'm going to be brewing a rye beer, and I've got my rye here. It's come, and I'm also going to be using as a specialty grain this crystal. So this is called T50, Simpson's Crystal T50. They call it T50 because it's 50 Lovey Bond. So I'm going to be using a little bit of crystal, but most of the specialty grains will come from this rye, and yeah, I'm going to be putting on a nice rye beer, and the hops I'm going to be using are Simcoe and Citra. So I think that's going to be a really nice beer when it's finished. And of course this one's for the book. So I'm going to be brewing that at the weekend as well. I might video it. Other than that, not much more's going on. Oh, I've got the grapefruit IPA that Pierre from Simple Homebrew kindly sent. Unfortunately, you know, it's chilly, and I made a mistake. I pitched the yeast that they sent with the kit, and it's a West Coast yeast, American West Coast yeast. Well, it's sitting now at around about 15 degrees, and it's not doing anything. So what I've had to do is from the last, from this one, this Cooper's Novalager European kit, I saved the yeast, and I've had to pitch that, and yeah, woo, within 12 hours, nice crows, and it's going like the clappers. So I should have saved that sachet, really. I should have known at 15 degrees you're not gonna, it's just not gonna start. So it's Mangrove Jack's Grapefruit IPA with Novalager. I'm loving this yeast, I'm telling you. Especially at this time of year with the weather that we've got. So that should be ready. Well, it'll have finished fermenting next weekend I can bottle, and then the week after we can do a taste test. So hopefully next weekend it's a side by side with the plum porter, and the weekend I'll just do a taste test of the grapefruit IPA using Novalager yeast. I've also got a Cooper's sparkling ale on the go. I'm using the brew belt for that. That's why I couldn't use the brew belt with the grapefruit IPA. I've only got one of them. And that's going nicely. That's just going to be for like springtime, something like that. So yeah, that's what I've got going on, and next weekend I'll have my rye IPA fermenting away, so that's good. I'm going to use I think I'm going to use US04 to see if we can get some fruitiness in there. I've heard that rye, I've never brewed with rye, and I don't think I've tried the Brewdog's rye, but I'm not an expert on rye ales, but I've heard it gives a nice spiciness, and I'm thinking if you can add some fruitiness as well, from say a US04, like an English ale yeast, that might complement it very well. So yeah, that's what's going on at the moment. Anyway, that's it. Definitely give this Novalager yeast a go. You're not going to be sorry. Even with just a cheap 1-can lager kit, it turns it into a really quaffable, very nice lager. Oh, that's good. Especially when it's cold. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure. I'll try and get a video out whilst I'm in Dublin. I'm only there for one night, so if not, I'll probably put together a video later on in the week. But yeah, I'll see if I can get a bottle of something, take it up to my hotel room, and do a review of that. But until then, it's been a pleasure as always, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye for now.